Weather is getting a little bit warmer.
Yeah.
Um, I'm planning a trip to Orlando this weekend, so um, just getting things ready. Everything's kind of stashed up a bit. How about yourself?
Doing pretty good. I've been taking my temple classes and showing up every week, and it's been really exciting on the because we learn a lot at the temples. It's like a school, so and there's a lot many sacred ordinances, many things happen there. And but anyways, that's basically all I've been doing and taking care of this crazy dog.
Which I saw an image on your Instagram. It was a bunch of old school church chairs. But
Yes.
there is a name to it. I forgot. It's not bleachers, of course, but
It's called church pews.
pure church pews. That's right. I have not. Wow, I have not heard that because now modern churches don't have pews no more.
Yeah.
So
Yep. They're definitely old school slash, that's just that's just how it was back in the day. And there's a warmth to that, sitting on a church pew with a bunch of people. It really invites the spirit a little bit more if you think about it.
it's great for the back. I mean,
Yes. Yeah.
for your back,
Yeah. It's great for many things, but yeah, it's definitely a wonderful environment.
which it's segues to our topic of today. If you see the title in this video, our religious beliefs. Many of you guys know that I'm a very spiritual person. I prefer the word spiritual than
Hmm.
religious. Um, as you guys know, if you follow me on Instagram at Sleon, you see every other day I post Bible verses for my app. It's the Bible for iOS, and I'm a very spiritual person. And this is a topic that Colin and I wanted to talk about. So we'll have you
Yeah,
first start
I'm
off.
curious for you. Like, where did religion start with you? And like, did your mom and dad go to the same church? They bring you up every saying, "Wake up, Santiago! It's time to go to church." How did that all begin?
Well, let me tell you. I I grew up in a Christian home. My parents grew up Catholic, but then they got saved in college and they became Protestants back in the
Mhm.
late 70s. And there was a big movement. I'm not sure if you heard of it. It's called the Jesus movement. A lot of hippies converting to Christ. It started in
Mhm.
California and then it spread around the world. So my parents, converted into that. And then I just grew up Christian. I went to church since I've been a baby. And as a child going every weekend, and you would hear the music and you would hear the sermons,
Yeah.
and it was mostly in Spanish because I grew up because my parents are from Colombia, so we went to a Spanish church when I was young, and when I was very young, I converted to Christianity. So I, some
How
people say
young? Were you 8 or 12 or?
I was actually 4 years old, believe it or not.
Oh wow.
I
Okay.
was 4 years old and I was by myself, and I knew at the time. I mean, I don't know. It just happened supernaturally, you can say.
Yeah.
And I just knew then, Lord, I receive you to my heart, and then the rest is history. But obviously, you go through your ups and downs. You go through your small little um rebirths, I guess you can say. And sometimes when you're like when I was a rebellious teenager in my
Mhm.
actually early teens, not my late, you start coming back to God again, and
Mhm.
I would say that I've been a strong Christian since, sometimes you don't realize you're in a like a in a quiet dip sometimes. You don't notice, but yeah, went to a Christian college, and it's interesting because I never skip church.
Never.
Every week, I might have
I'm
like
the,
a
I'm the same
90%
way
success
now.
rate.
Yeah.
I might have a. I mean, of course, I miss Sundays here and there, but that's really rare, though.
Hmm.
I might have perfect attendance. I'm not sure. I have to look at my. Well, I don't have my records. I don't keep track of it. But so, how about yourself? What is your history with? spirituality and religion?
The beginning is semi interesting, but first I want to let you know that the origin of the word religion in Latin means to bind, and so they like to connect. So I think there's a very important role religion plays in anyone's life, and you can segue from that to like you have to, as an athlete, you have to practice every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then it's game night Friday night. Same with church. You go to church every Sunday. That sets the foundation of your week each week, right? So that binds you to a higher power. And I think it's very important for young kids, old, it doesn't matter who you are, to find the religion that works for you and study it very thoroughly, because there's a lot of doctrine out there. So, but anyways, back to the beginnings. My father was actually Baptist and my mom was LDS. So we didn't.
What is LDS for the audience that don't know?
That means Latter-day Saints, also known as Mormons, or the nickname Mormons. We've rebranded it to Latter-day Saints because we are in the latter days. But anyways, yes. So, but for the most of the part, since my father didn't really go to church, he was just self-proclaimed Baptist. We mainly went to the Mormon church and did a lot of the group activities as a kid. And, but anyways, my father did end up getting baptized shortly before he passed. So that was a really good thing. What was the other part of the question about the religion?
Yeah, your origins, like, how'd you get into LDS and which is Latter-day Saints and what, I mean, because you had almost like two options in a way, but was your mom heavily influenced for you to become a Mormon?
Yeah, yes and no. They kind of just like let it flow. Like we could go any which way we wanted to. Honestly, it's like I had too much freedom as a 10-year-old. A 9 10-year-old should not be making some of the decisions that I made. But anyways, overall, I chose the right one, and I still like to, as a current Latter-day Saint, I like to go to different Baptist churches and feel the environment and learn from what they teach. I'm really big on the diversity, I guess.
And what kept you on to become a Mormon? Was there any type of doctrinal beliefs that you agreed on, or was it just an experience that you felt like this is it?
When you read the Book of Mormon, it kind of like blows your mind on how much it relates to the Bible. And then we also have what's called the Doctrine and Covenants. And that goes really, really deep into scripture and like even has certain events took place. Excuse me. It has a lot of very interesting events that took place that you're like, wow, if that really happened, then I know for a fact this is the only true church on this planet. Now, do I know 100%? Do I believe 100%? Yes. So do I know? I don't know, but I haven't found anything better than the Latter-day Saint church.
Now, there's a lot of people that put connotations or they put cliches on religion, and obviously Mormons as well. There's people that say that Mormons don't drink coffee, they don't drive cars, they got ride their bikes to go to church. Can you
the first one, the second one, there in some situations, yeah, the people will pull out their bike and go, but in modern times, we all use the same gasoline or electric cars that people are using now. And yes, in our doctrine, we have what's called the Word of Wisdom, and it teaches us about certain things like tea, coffee, alcohol, substances that our body should not be consuming.
Yeah, and for my beliefs and my religion or denomination, alcohol is an option. I think obviously if you do it in excess, that's sin. Mm-hmm. And also also practice drunkenness, which is not good. I personally don't drink, and you know this. I've made that decree for ever since I was a kid, actually, since I was in my late teens, early young adulthood. And people ask me every time. It feels like everyone drinks. Don't you notice that? Like
Yeah,
when I go
everyone. Yeah.
when I hang out with friends or go out and hang out, it feels like everyone has something. Like it's really rare. Maybe out of four people or five people, one other person doesn't drink. So I have those decrees that I make. Obviously, it is an option. I don't believe it's sin to drink, but it is it is sin if you get drunk.
Mhm.
And then of course you can drink with moderation, which there has been arguments that moderation doesn't really happen in alcohol. It's like you get tipsy either way. I don't know.
Yeah, like you said, it depends on how much. But yeah, you know, if you have one beer once a year, to celebrate a victory, then I don't think you're going to go to hell. But it's just not recommended because you know, as like you're saying, everyone in this world we live in, everyone drinks, and usually it doesn't end up in a good outcome. You know,
Yeah, maybe
overall.
wrong decisions. And people say religions is full of law,
Hmm.
full of like uh right and wrong, ethics, morals, but which I believe it's actually a good thing, and my religion, I guess you can say, or my denomination, when you convert to Jesus, you have a relationship with him. That's what I
That's
mean,
right.
relationship. And when you're, you know, committing, you start to realize, okay, this is wrong. I shouldn't be doing that. And then you start love and like you read the Bible and you're like, oh, okay, this makes sense. And you don't understand that until you jump into it.
Yeah, and the other thing, we serve a orderly God. We serve a God that, if He teaches us about obedience. Obedience is kind of like discipline in a sense, but that's what teaches us to be able to grow. If you don't have a guideline, you don't, you're just going everywhere. But if you have obedience and a relationship with Jesus Christ, you're going to want to serve and do what He wants.
Yeah. And if you don't have that, you have chaos. I think there's a saying I heard one of my friends say that no God, no morals. You know,
That's
um,
right.
and yes, there could be an argument where an atheist could have morals. I mean,
Mhm.
sure, or a agnostic person, but I think religion goes far from the personal beliefs. I think it really goes well with government. I think religion created government for organization, you know, and not just
Yeah.
government, business practices, things like that.
Hmm. Yeah, and back to what you were saying earlier. I honestly, I don't drink at all, neither no more. But in my 20s, I used to party like a rock star. That was my. I wanted to have a 20, 30 people over my house and have a good time in my early 20s. Yeah. But yeah, and religion goes with family. Our families are. We know, regardless of what religion we're attached to, your family is your most important um, part of life. And it's important to study the genealogy of your family too, so that you can know where you came from, which tribe did you come from. Uh,
How long has your mom's side of the family have been like Mormons? Was her mother Mormon? Was her grandmother Mormon? Like, how long do you think was the thread?
I believe I haven't done enough research on that. Shame on me, I know. But my grandfather is the one really first became a Mormon, and then his wife, my grandmother, shortly did afterwards. So, and this was
Not too
this was
long.
probably this was probably back in the 1950s. So,
Now,
um,
you said recently you've been getting very involved. You've been going to the temple a lot lately.
mhm.
What has provoked you to come back into the church?
Well, it began somehow with my mother dying, and I was just as soon as she passed away, I flew down to where my stepfather was, and it just so happened to be during where general conference were taking place, and the way I watched him watch the conferences, a switch turned on. I was like, you know what? I need to start going to church again. I need to start doing it. And as soon as I flew back here to Oak Ridge, I've been going ever since. And it's and now it's like I feel lost if I don't go to church. You know, like you get addicted to going to religion because it's a place of peace. It's a place of comfort, and the relationships that you get from going to church. You know, that leads to future business. You know, that leads to long term happiness. You know, it ain't all perfect, but you know what I mean. There's just too many advantages of going to not want to go.
Yeah, there is other good stuff when it comes to going back to church or also getting plugged into a church. It's not just, your spiritual part, but also like you were saying, business. Like I have gotten business leads at church.
Yeah.
I have gotten made some new friends at church, building
Mhm.
community. I think that's one of the things that a lot of churches are known for. Not just today. I think it's always happening, for decades and centuries, where you build community after, like for example, after services or after a Bible study and
Mhm.
whatnot. And I think there's always that caveat with that. It's not like your first your first mission is to find God, I think. And of course, after that, things could, probably and go along with it. But yeah, that's something that I kind of think about a lot. So everyone says the Mormons are in Utah. Why
That,
is
that we're
that?
that we're not in Utah.
No, that you guys are only in Utah.
Huh. That's because our main temple in Salt Lake City, Utah, uh, and there are a ton of Mormons in Utah, but we're all over the world. We have 16 million plus members now. We're a big church, and you got to think about it. We're the only church on this planet that I know of that's called the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Every other church is just a random name, random that. This one is very specific and detailed.
Yeah,
So, yeah, we're everywhere.
yeah, it's worldwide. So, and you know, for our obviously, I think we're a bigger denomination than the Protestants. I believe. I haven't looked at the numbers, but I assume so. Um, I've probably been to like five.
Have you ever been to a Latter Day Saint like to Sacrament?
I've been to outside a building, but I've never been inside. Is it like welcome to everyone inside, or is it like you have to get permission?
No, yeah, all visitors are welcome.
So not
So
bad.
I need to hook you up with where the nearest one near you is, and you attend one Sunday, and then we'll have a podcast on that. On
There's
your
actually one right near me, and it's a really nice building. It's it might be less than 10 years old,
okay.
and it's gorgeous. It is like a artistic monastery type. I've never been inside. Imagine like the inside must be beautiful.
Is it the church or the temple that you're talking about?
The temple. It's a
Yeah, the
big
temple.
temple.
Yeah, me being a former real estate guy and still a real estate guy, I promise you this: it is the highest quality craftsmanship in the world. And if you think the outside looks great, if you ever go on the temple, yes, you do have to have a temple recommend to go that. For the church, you can visit anytime because
Do you?
you have.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say you have to follow the rules and requirements in order to get a temple recommend. That's what gives you access to do the sacred ordinances.
But they don't have any type of like specific membership limitations. Like there's only like 500 people allowed inside or allowed to be members. at this local LDS church or something like that?
No, that there, to my knowledge, there's no restriction on that because basically everything's online now, and you schedule of what you're going to do at the temple. Like, are you getting married? Are you doing baptisms for the dead? Are you doing? Um, there's a whole host of things, but yeah, I highly recommend one day that you actually take the leap and just experience church for yourself one day.
I'm up for the challenge. I'm kind of curious now that you're talking to me about this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you right now that it's mind blowing on, and especially if you go all the way back to where our church is the restoration of the gospel. We believe, I'll just summarize it, that Joseph Smith went out into the woods and prayed, God, which one of these churches is true? Because at the time he was around Methodists, Baptists, Catholics, and we believe that Jesus and God came to earth, and he had a vision right there and saw him face to face. And he told him, none of these churches are true. I'm going to guide you on restarting my church, the one I started when Jesus was here. Jesus had his own ministry, and we now run it the exact same. We run it the same way Jesus did back in the day, with one prophet and 12 apostles. So think
Interesting.
about that. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. So you're in this new journey, I would say. Where do you think it's going to take you?
It's going to take me to the promised land for sure, which is the celestial kingdom, and that's why I'm going. Because there's risk and rewards, and this ain't a risk, but it's just something that's a part of my life now because we kind of have the blueprint of everything that Jesus wants for us, which is to be exactly like Jesus Christ. He's going to give us everything if we just follow his instructions.
Amen to that. That's awesome. My spiritual journey right now, it's been good. It's been steady. Obviously going deep into things, been getting more into about Jesus healing the sick. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's something that that I don't see people practicing it, kind of, because he told us, go and preach the gospel, heal the sick. And that's something that I always, when I see a sick person or a person that talks to me that, hey, that they're going through through struggle with, let's say, physical, or even now with like mental, I want to take more of the initiation of praying for people and pray for healing, because I think people, yeah, you go to the doctor, therapy, nothing wrong with that, but sometimes they need that divine healing, that divine sense of peace, which people need, to just to carry along during this harsh world. You need that peace like a river. Have you ever heard of that song? It's called it is well with my soul.
That sounds very familiar, but I would have to hear
Yeah.
the beat. But yeah.
Yeah, it's about this one guy, this one person that everything went wrong. His house was destroyed from a fire. His wife and his kids died in that accident, and I think he lost some other stuff. And he took a boat to Europe or to England, and he felt peace. He felt peace because he had God on his side. He had Jesus in his heart, and he wrote this song, "It Is Well." And that's something that a lot of people need, that sense of peace. A lot of things going around, work, bills, recession rumors, things like that. And I think whatever you want to call it, spirituality or religion, I think it's it's a necessity, I would say.
See, and that's why I love about my church. One of the top reasons why I love it is because we have a modern day prophet with 12 apostles. Like it didn't just end with Moses or Peter. We have a sitting prophet today. There's only one on this earth that that's what General Conference is all about. It's in April. October every 6 months, and all the top speakers, including the apostles, they relay their messages to us to kind of keep us in tune with where God's at and how He wants to lead His church.
Well, there you have it. If you guys in the chat or in the comments have questions for me or for Colin, give a comment below. Yep, there you go. And of course, you could contact us directly online. Which, Colin, what is the best way to reach you online?
The best way to reach me is Instagram at CALLIN11. And we got to give a huge shout out to Sleon Productions, the sportscast. So we're rocking with, and we're going to the top with. So
there you have it. And you can reach me at Sleon, SLEON, or you can visit my website, sleonproductions.com. And what Colin mentioned, the Sportscast, which is my another network that I operate, sports network. It's thesportscast.net if you're interested in that. Next week, Colin, give us a preview of next week's show. Should be a good one, I hear.
We're gonna find us a random guest out there that has been tuning in to the Sleon and Kirk show, and that's how we're gonna do it. So it's kind of a surprise.
It is a surprise. We had a few options, and we're bringing out to one guest. Yeah. We got three options, 3 candidates, and we've nailed it down to one. So hopefully you guys will stay tuned for next week to enjoy it. And of course, hey, we're having a lot of reflection, like going back and forth, learning from our lives, spilling out inspiration, influencing, not just in business or our strategies, but also in religion, spirituality. So, and hopefully next week we'll spill you some more gold.
100%.
Well, Colin, I gotta get going.
Yes, sir. You get to work, Sleon, and I'll talk to you later.
See you guys.